So where Ananya first showed me her Global Perspective project report, she had 47 pages of amazing research, but no clear structure. Her introduction was buried on page 12. Her conclusion didn't answer her research question. Her analysis was scattered throughout. 3 weeks later, using the exact framework I am sharing today, she transformed those notes into a coherent, examiner-friendly report and earned top marks. Today, I'll walk you through the same step-by-step structure so your IGCSE GP reports reads like a professional investigation. Hey guys, I am Karishma. I have helped hundreds of IGCSE GP students turn research chaos into a structured success, and let's build your report the way Ananya did. So first, let's understand the problem. Here's what Ananya's first draft looked like. Her research question changed 3 times within the same document. Her methodology was mixed in with her findings. Her conclusion started with, in my opinion. Does it sound familiar to you as well? So examiners deduct significant marks for unclear research questions, scattered arguments, and conclusions that don't actually conclude. A clear structure isn't just about organization. It is about demonstrating the analysis, evaluation, and reflection that IGCSE GP specifically rewards for. So, what we did, after restructuring, Ananya's report clearly demonstrated every assessment criteria according to the syllabus copy. Clear, focused research question, balanced evidence-based analysis of perspective, well-designed primary research, critical evaluation and justified conclusion, meaningful reflection on learning, proper referencing, and appendices. So in this video, I'll show you exactly where each element belongs and how Ananya's transformation proves the power of a good structure. So let's understand Ananya's full report structure. So her original title was Social Media and Mental Health. It was too broad and too vague. We refined it to how do Instagram usage patterns affect anxiety levels amongst year 11 students in an international school in Mumbai. So, did you notice the specificity which talked about clear population, clear outcome, and clear context? Now, if I want to talk about Ananya's first abstract, it was 400 words and basically retold her entire project. Here's her revised version. This study investigates how daily Instagram usage affects self-reported anxiety amongst year 11 students in Mumbai international schools using mixed method including surveys around 89 people, focus group 12 group. Findings shows students using Instagram more than 3 hours daily reported 34% higher anxiety scores, particularly around exam periods. However, students using the platform primarily for educational content showed no significant anxiety increase. And therefore, usage purpose matters more than duration alone. So what is the implication? Schools should focus digital wellness programs on mindful usage rather than blanket restrictions. One paragraph in her answer, clear findings, direct answer. Write this last, but place it first. Now let's focus on how we reframed her introduction. So this is where Ananya's breakthrough happened. Her original introduction started with the history of social media, completely irrelevant. Nobody wants to know that. And here's how we rebuilt it. Let me give you her exact framework. So the first block of her framework is context. Brief statistics on teen social media usage in India. Second block is narrowing focus from global concerns to local Mumbai school context. Third block is research questions. How do Instagram usage pattern affects anxiety level among year 11 students in international schools in Mumbai? Next building block is rationale. Why this matters locally, upcoming board exams, and globally rising teen anxiety rates. The next building block is scope, what she will or won't cover. So, this report first examines existing research that presents primary finding from the surveys and focus group before evaluating evidence and providing recommendation. The result is her examiner immediately understood the focus and relevance. The next part of your research is literature review or secondary research. So Ananya initially wrote source by source summary, extremely boring and disconnected. We what we did was we reorganized these things by theme. So what was her thematic structure? In the first part, we focused on social comparison theory and anxiety, 3 studies. In the second part, we used patterns and total time, 2 studies. In the third part, we focused on cultural factors in Asian context, 2 studies. Next part was we understood research gaps, what's missing in Mumbai International School context. And this showed examiner she could synthesize research and not just summarize it. Each theme built towards justifying her primary research design. The methodology we use here is the next step is what methodology we use. So Ananya had done great primary research but explained it too poorly. Here's how we clarified her approach. So what was her methodology? Restatement of research question. Next, we focused on mixed method rationale, that is surveys for pattern focus groups for deeper understanding. We also focused on survey design, that is 89-year lens students stratified by school anonymous validated anxiety scale. And when we talk about focus group design, it was 12 students, diverse usage levels, semi-structured interviews. Then the next part, we focused on ethical consideration, parental consent, anonymity, mental health support, contacts provided. So what was analysis plan? Descriptive statistics for survey, thematic coding for qualitative data. And the last one was limitation acknowledged upfront, voluntary participation, self-reported data. It was not taken from any of the counselor. So this section went from confusing to crystal clear. Examiners could see she designed thoughtful, ethical research. And now moving on to the next part of her essay, that is findings and results. Originally, Ananya mixed findings with her own opinions, and what we did was we separated facts from analysis. So let me show you Ananya's result structure. First part consisted of survey findings, that is cleanup percentages, simple charts. Like 67 of 89 students reported using Instagram for more than 2 hours per day, so on and so forth. The second part decided focus group themes, direct quotes, anonymized. Third part, academic pressure amplified by social comparison, FOMO during exam periods, positive usage, study groups, and motivation posts. So pure data presentation and no interpretation yet. This made her analysis section much stronger. And then we will move on to the analysis and discussion, okay, in the next part of her report. This is where Ananya's grade really jumped. We used Peeler, P-E-E-L-E-R method to link evidence to arguments. Now, Peeler is a mnemonic to 1. Point. P stands for point. Instagram amplifies exam period anxiety through social comparison mechanism. E stands for evidence. Focus group participants consistently mention feeling behind when seeing others study. Post with 8 to 12 describing increased stress during exam weeks. E stands for explain. This suggests social comparison theory applies strongly in academic contexts where performance is visible and competitive. L stands for lens. Students saw post as pressure to perform. Parents viewed social media as distraction. Teachers focused on time management, showing different stakeholders' perspective on the same behavior. Then E stands for evaluate. Focus group data aligns with survey findings and support established social comparison. Research to small sample limits. R, the final one, stands for rebut or link. While some argue social media provides study motivation, the anxiety increase during exam periods suggests negative effects outweigh benefit for this population, leading to specific intervention recommendation. This transformation from scattered observation to structured analysis impressed her examiner. Ananya initially ignored her methodology's weakness, which forms the 8th part of her structure, that is evaluation. We taught her that honest evaluation actually strengthens credibility. So what was Ananya's evaluation? It was method strengths. She mixed methods, provided both breadth and depth. Local focus addressed research gap. Then she focused on limitation, that is self-selection bias. Volunteers might be more aware of usage. Self-reported anxiety, not clinical diagnosis. Cross-sectional design, can't prove causation. She also focused on source quality. Recent studies were mostly Western population, cultural relevance question. She also focused on improvements, longitudinal design, clinical anxiety measures, broader school representation. Her examiners commented, thoughtful self-critic, demonstrate research when maturity. That is very important. You should eventually also critique your own work and show it in your paper. So what kind of conclusion she wrote? So her original conclusion was Instagram can be good and bad. It is a very weak. And now I'm stating the revised one. So she wrote, evidence strongly suggests that Instagram usage patterns, particularly passive consumption and social comparison behaviors, increase anxiety levels amongst year 11 students in Mumbai International School. High usage student reported significantly higher anxiety scores, with qualitative data confirming social comparison mechanisms during academically stressful periods. However, students using the platform primarily for education content showed minimal anxiety increase, indicating usage purpose matters more than the duration alone. Confidence in findings, medium high given consistent triangulation between surveys and focus group data through the generalizability beyond the specific population requires further research. Okay, then she also talked about the recommendation, which is school implement mindful usage workshop focusing on consumption patterns, create designated study focused social media group, provide anxiety management resources during exam period, direct answer, evidence-based reasoning, practical implication, and exactly what examiner wants. That is what her report eventually had. And the last part is reflection on learning. Ananya's reflection went beyond "I learned a lot" to specific insight. So this is what she wrote. And this research challenged my assumptions that all social media use is harmful. I discovered that my own Instagram habits, passive scrolling during study breaks, align with patterns linked to increased anxiety in my data. I have since shifted more to intentional usage, following educational accounts and setting time boundaries. Methodologically, I learned that good research requires acknowledging limitations, not hiding them. My perspective on teen mental health evolved from seeing social media as a primary cause to understanding it as one factor among many, requiring nuanced rather blanket solution. And that reflected strong personal growth combined with methodological insight, which is the foundation to strong reflection. So what did Ananya said? That I had all the ingredients but did not know how to bake the cake. The structure was my recipe. Suddenly everything made sense. Her teacher's final comment was transformation, remarkable, clear thinking, strong evaluation, and professional presentation. So here are the specific strategies that help Ananya polish her final draft. That is one idea per paragraph. Ananya's original paragraph covered 3 to 4 different points. We split them up. Second was visual clarity, simple charts and tables. Ananya learned that fancy graph often confuses more than clarify. Next is academic tone without jargon. Ananya's first draft was full of unnecessary psychology terminology, word count. Then we focused on word count management. We allocated words per section so she knew where to expand versus cut. Then we also took peer feedback. Ananya's study partner read the draft and caught unclear explanation. The result was professional but readable, exactly what IGCSE Global Perspective team project requires. So Ananya's success wasn't about having perfect research. It was about presenting her good research in a way that led examiners sees her thinking clearly. Structure isn't constraint. It's liberation. When you know where everything belongs, you can focus on what you want to say rather than how to organize it. So use this framework. If Ananya could transform 47 pages of chaos into a top scoring report in 3 weeks, so can you. Until then, take care. See you in the next video.